Second presenter is Sally Sinwan Kim. Sally is a 10th grader from Tenafly High School, and her parents hopefully are here. Ji-hee Jung, where's Ji-hee? You here? Yes, hi Ji-hee. And father, Young Jung Kim? Father here? No, okay. Okay, Sally, it's all yours.
I would like to thank everyone who made this opportunity possible. So my presentation is on the topic of the importance of Asian Americans and other diversity in law enforcement. So America is known as a melting pot full of different cultures and religions that make our country unique. Since it has many diverse cultures, a lot of people who are not familiar with English may be hard to communicate with others who do not speak their same language. As an immigrant myself, in the first few years of living here, I always felt comforted when I saw someone who was able to communicate with me. That is why law enforcement are incorporating more diversity. They do this to build more trust between law enforcement and communities in the USA. In fact, when President Obama established a task force on the 21st century policing 2 years ago, the task force suggested that having more diversity will lead to strengthening the trust between communities and law enforcement. According to the U.S. Equal Employment and Opportunity Commission, when members of the public believe their law enforcement organizations represent them, understand them, and respond to them, and when communities perceive authorities as fair, legitimate, and accountable, it deepens trust in law enforcement, instills public confidence in government, and supports the integrity of democracy. This trust is essential to diffusing tension, to solving crimes, and to creating a system in which residents view law enforcement as fair and just. Victims and witnesses may not approach or engage with law enforcement if they do not perceive such authorities to be responsive to their experiences and concerns. This trust and the cooperation it facilitates also enables officers to more effectively and safely perform their jobs. I have been taught that communication is key to everything. Without communicating, it is easy to misinterpret ideas, which may lead to not being able to solve problems, etc. If there is no diversity available in law enforcement to help communities that are bursting with different religions, cultures, and experiences, the results that we fear will come about and will not bring peace. Not only will having more diversity among law enforcement build and increase trust among communities and law enforcement, but making law enforcement are more open to reform, more willing to initiate cultural and systematic changes, and more responsive to the residents they serve. Some have pointed to increased diversity as a catalyst for reform, enabling officers and law enforcement leaders alike to become more introspective and reflective about problems in their departments. Having a more open mind can drive reform across a range of areas, including civilian oversight, community policing, and racial bias. From a federal survey of police departments in 2007, it was found that in about 400 departments, the population of police officers were considerably more white than the community they served. For example, in a town called Maple Heights in Ohio, people found that the police department has 2 black police officers out of the 53 they have, and that the fire department was 100% white. This can cause racial biases among the law enforcement and the community. An example of racism shown by lack of diversity in police departments was clearly shown in Ferguson, Missouri, when officers did not treat the black residents there well. This barrier between minorities and officers caused problems among the relationships between them, and with more diversity in departments, relationships between officers and residents can improve, and residents will be able to trust and rely on them. It may seem like the diversity in America is growing and growing every second, but despite every culture, religion, and political beliefs, etc., that have been existing in our country for hundreds of years, it seems that there are still problems regarding racism and trust between non-whites and whites in law enforcement as well as everywhere else. By including more variety among law enforcement, residents will have an easier time asking and getting help, building the trust between them and officers, not experience racism, etc. All in all, having more Asian Americans and other diversity in law enforcement is highly beneficial to all. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Any comments from the audience? Well, Sally, let me tell you about diversity, and especially in law enforcement. It's a great topic because I can tell you, since my friendship and involvement with the Asian American community since 2003, I know how important it is to encourage and inspire young people like yourself and all these other young students to be involved in law enforcement. And let me tell you two of the barriers that I've seen. The first barrier, and Chief Regino could concur to this, 44 years ago, even 34 years ago, the law enforcement profession was not seen as a high-paying profession, and it wasn't. People got involved with law enforcement for a number of reasons, but most of the reasons were they were military veterans, and they served the military, and like the military, the police profession is like a quasi-military organization, so they joined the police department. Other people, like Frank's not a veteran, joined for the public service reason, meaning that they wanted to serve their community. So years ago, that barrier was big for us because it was not a high-paying job. In my days, people that were union carpenters and union electricians and professionals like accountants and lawyers and doctors making a lot more dollars than the public employee police officer. But today, it's a lot different. Today, it's a lot different. Police officers earn a lot of money, and I'm not saying join our profession for money, but it's different today. We are held to a higher degree. We are dealing with those professionals, each and every professional of very varying levels of education. We need to be diverse. Our police officers that serve our community need to be reflective of the community. So we need more Korean police officers in Palisades Park. We need more Korean police officers in Tenafly, where you live and where John lives, because like John told us just before, I don't know the breakdown, but I think it's close to 40% of the town is made up of Korean Americans. That's big. I'm not saying the police department needs to be 40% Koreans, but there should be more than maybe one or two. Here's another barrier. We can't hire you to be a police officer if you're not engaging and willing to be one. So you'll have to research and know how to become a police officer. In my town, are you civil service man? Different in Westwood, but in my town, we're state civil service. You have to take a state exam, entry-level exam. If you don't take that exam and get ranked on a list from scoring a 100 down to whatever the lowest grade is, I can't hire you. A town like Westwood has their own procedures. You got to know what those procedures are. So that's what's important. And organizations like this one, all our board members here created this internship program to open the eyes and inspire young students to understand what law enforcement, working with government is all about. So I think we're trying to do it, but we need more help. We need everybody to network together, and especially a young student like you to do a program on this. Diversity in law enforcement is such a great topic. So that's my comment, not really a question, but you did a great job, Sally.